Hello, Oilers fans. Austin here with a quick Oilers lineup news update. Tweet from Bob Stauffer. He has the updated lines from practice this morning. And let's just say things are a little unexpected. There's some players that are moved up, some players that have moved down, and we're going to talk about it. And, of course, a little bit of other news to talk about. Brandon Saad is not signing with the Oilers. He apparently has signed with the Vegas Golden Knights. Not completely official yet, but Elliot Friedman has reported that it'll be in the $1.5 million range for Vegas. So, Brandon Saad, you were in the comments section of my video the other day. You said you were coming to Edmonton. You lied to me, Brandon Saad, and now I'll forever hate you. I can't wait for Edmonton to beat you in the playoffs, Brandon Saad. I know it was the real Brandon Saad, too. Obviously, I'm joking. If you end up enjoying this video, make sure to smash the like button. We like to have some fun and meme around. And if you end up really liking it, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're not yet subscribed. But let's get into it. Let's talk about the updated lines at practice today. Now, these may not be what they play once, Saturday comes around against the Toronto Maple Leafs. However, Chris Knobloch has really shaken things up here. With top line, we have Leon Draisaitl with Connor McDavid and Corey Perry. Now, listen, I love me some Corey Perry. I've liked Corey Perry all season, but he should not be on the top line. This should not be a permanent thing ever. Corey Perry does not have the foot speed to catch up or to keep up with the play, and going up against a team like Toronto, I just don't like the look of that first line. McDavid and Draisaitl should always be split. They should never be together to give yourselves the best opportunity of depth scoring throughout your lineup, top to bottom. Loading up McDavid and Draisaitl means all teams have to do is shut down that top line, and then the rest of the team, I mean, no offense to the rest of the lineup, but usually the offense is being driven by Draisaitl and McDavid. So not sure what's going on there. Not a big fan of that. Not a big fan of Corey Perry on that top line. Second line, you have Zach Hyman with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Victor Arvidsson. Not a terrible line. Nugent-Hopkins centering his own line usually doesn't go well at this point. I do think he is a winger. So him on the second line, I'm not sure how I feel about it. Zach Hyman and Arvidsson on the same line. They're two players that are good along the boards, but they're two players that aren't very good at passing. And Arvidsson's game, for the most part, over the last couple weeks hasn't looked great. He's looked a little off. He's looked a step behind. Now, that line on paper could be good, but as of right now, just my own personal impressions of it, not a big fan. We'll see how they play against Toronto if these lines do stay intact. Third line, you have Vasily Podkolzin with Adam Henrique and Connor Brown. Now, Podkolzin, he hasn't been producing as much, and I think the coaching staff is just looking to get different looks here. Podkolzin down to the third line with Adam Henrique and Connor Brown. I think that has the makings of a pretty good third line. Connor Brown, though, really struggling. He had the opportunity to play with McDavid last night on that top line, and Connor Brown struggled. In fact, I would say Connor Brown has really struggled over the past couple of weeks as well. Despite the team winning, there's not a lot to complain about here in Oil Country. The team's first in the Pacific Division. They're winning a ton of games, but for Connor Brown, I don't know what it is. His game has taken a bit of a step back here. Podkolzin, of course, I love his style of play, but down on the third line, it could be beneficial. Adam Henrique, he's been playing a little bit better. Again, you want Draisaitl and McDavid to be first and second line here, because now the lineup just looks pretty crazy. And then on the fourth line, you have Jeff Skinner with Matthias Janmark and Kasperi Kapanen. Now this, again, I know Kapanen and Jeff Skinner are usually the ones who are rotating in and out of being healthy scratches. At least Jeff Skinner's in the lineup, but the fact that he has goals in consecutive games, he's at 9 goals on the season, and the fact that he still just can't find a way to move up that lineup. I don't know what else Jeff Skinner can do to get a look in the top 6. It makes absolutely no sense to me. Now, is that a bad fourth line? Not really. I don't like Janmark at the center position, and then Noah Philp, the odd man out, likely healthy scratch against Toronto. And for Noah Philp, I'm not surprised. He hasn't played great. He's losing faceoffs, and for the one or two good plays that he makes, it does seem like when he's on the ice, he is being hemmed in his own zone a little bit. This is a learning experience for a young player, learning how to play at the NHL level. Getting a seat doesn't mean necessarily that he has played absolutely awful, but he looks to be the odd man out. On defense, you have Nurse with Bouchard, Kulak, Emerson, Troy Stetcher, Skinner and Pickard in goal, and then not on the ice today were Matthias Ekholm and John Klingberg. John Klingberg was obviously likely just a maintenance day because they are load managing his ice time. They're load managing how much time he remains on the ice, coming back from the hip surgeries and all the injuries that he's dealt with. So he played last night, obviously a day off today. I do probably expect him to play tomorrow. Matthias Ekholm hasn't looked 100% for a couple of weeks now, and there is a bit of a flu bug going around the locker room. And you could kind of tell last night against Detroit. I didn't really talk about it a whole lot during the post-game fan reaction, but you could definitely tell that the team didn't look 100%. You could tell that at some points, especially as the game wore on, certain players were looking real darn tired. They were looking really fatigued. So we'll see if the Oilers are able to kickstart themselves back into another gear against Toronto tomorrow night, if these lines do stay intact tomorrow against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Tell me what you think about them. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below because, again, my own personal impressions here, I am all about positivity on this channel. We spread positivity, happiness, joy, love all the time. I end every single video telling people to tell someone that they love them, and we always talk about Ben. I always wear his bracelet. But this is a situation where I look at that lineup and Chris Knobloch, it's almost like he had a darts and a dartboard and he's just throwing names at it, seeing what sticks. He's obviously he obviously must not be happy with how the outcome of last night's game has played. The Oilers, of course, beat Seattle and Buffalo in games that maybe they didn't quite deserve to win. So for the Edmonton Oilers, they have to adjust. They have to play much better against Toronto. And this is a lineup. If those lines remain intact, I don't know, man. I'd love to see them prove me wrong. I'd love to see that lineup go out there and put about 8 or 9 goals up against the Toronto Maple Leafs because we know tomorrow against the Leafs is going to be a very exciting game. So that is it from me. That is today's Oilers news update. Like I mentioned as well, Brandon Saad not signing with the Oilers, unfortunately. I thought he would have been a good pickup, but that just means that the trade deadline for Edmonton, they can focus on maybe better wingers out there, better scorers, better forwards, better defensemen, and that's okay with me. I don't think that is a huge loss. Good for Vegas. Well done. Good for them. Big round of applause for the Vegas LTIRs. You absolutely love to see that. Anyways, that is it from me for now. Of course, when more news breaks, if there's any lineup updates, if there's any roster decisions, any big trades out there involving your Edmonton Oilers, this is the place to be. So make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're not yet subscribed. And we'll see you soon. Make sure to tell someone that you love them. And as always, fight like a kid. Fight like Ben. Let's go Oilers.